pulls about a ream of paper. Each of the side guides is adjustable. The machine will detect what size piece of paper is in the machine. So if you needed to put legal in here, you could drive that back and throw it in. This would do up to 11 by 17 down to 5.5 by 8.5, as well as the other two the paper sources in there. So sometimes when you have multiple cassettes, you may have one roll over to the other if you have a large printing job, or you may have color sheets of paper or different stock paper, maybe a heavier paper. When you do change the heavier paper, you want to change what's called the media. So the thicker paper is going to take a little bit more heat, a little bit more charge to maintain proper print quality. Mm-hmm. So again, the thicker the paper, you're going to come in and change the paper setting in there, and we can help you with that. So this paper here on the right side, we have what's called a multi-purpose tray. You can stack up to where that little lever is, about 100 sheets or so. It is a intelligent tray, so as I slide it out, I could do up to 11 by 17. It'll detect that page size that's in there, and it'll be shown if you went into paper selection. Over here it's called MP tray settings, and right now it's at letter, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you wanted to go in, you could change the paper size, or when we put the paper in there, it will detect it.
Okay.
What's this? Oh, that's it. I don't have it closed. Right, and so those are the cassettes. So here's the document feeder. Here you can scan probably about up to 250 sheets. Everything goes in there face up. Can I have a sheet of paper? So everything goes in the doc feeder face up, and then the edge that you want to copy is on the left. So face up to the left is a little indicator right here to how to orient your paper. This is going to get the fastest speed out of the paper. If the paper is in what's called traditional 8.5 by 11, notice the paper in the tray is located so you can get the full speed out of the machine. If you were to orientate it what's called letter R, why it's going to take a little bit longer to generate a copy. So, the fastest way to run the machine and the most common way is to orient paper this way. Anything again 5.5 by 8.5 up to 11 by 17. This handle piece of paper, we're going to lift this up. Paper path through the document feeder comes in. There's some blue wheel that'll take and cycle the paper. Let's say it was stapled by accident, you didn't realize it, and it's trying to pull 2 sheets in at a time. This will help wheel it through if you needed to pull it or push it. So it's going to come through. Mm-hmm. It'll come over what's called this scan glass. So this is where it actually generates the image. Sometimes what happens, we get little whiteout, or maybe there's a signature of ink. That'll get on what's called a scan glass, and when you go to make another copy, you'll see this line come straight down. Normally it's because there's some ink or some debris on the glass. We tend to use a cloth or like a cloth. We'll put either alcohol, a little glass cleaner on the cloth, not spraying on that scan glass, and that'll clean that. There's also a little cloth that's here. You can take and wipe it down, so it'll help clean the debris off of it. But again, if it's ink or a little bit of whiteout, you're going to want to put a little bit of alcohol on that. That's it with the document feeder. When we open up the document feeder, when we place our documents on the glass, again, anything from business card size up to 11 by 17, traditionally we orient the paper this way. You can certainly do letter legal in this direction to get a legal size piece of paper. So anything off the glass. And it goes in the upper left-hand corner. Stapler. Darryl, help me out with mine. Right. Usually use the bigger one. Oh,
it's easier to slide out. Staples, cartridge will pull out like this. Mm-hmm. When it's empty, you can squeeze tabs. This pulls out, new cartridge reloads, and you just slide it back in.
Okay.
And did we give them extra staples? We'll have
No,
to make
I'll bring
sure
another
we'll
set
stop
up.
some by. So when you're done loading, you want to take and push this in. The display kind of shows you what's going on
Yeah.
in there once you slide that out. on-off button on the machine is directly underneath the panel. So if we press it, it's asking us, do we want to do it? If I say yes, it's going to take a few seconds. It says 3 minutes, but it's usually much quicker. So now the machine is off. If for some reason you knew there was a big thunderstorm or so you're working on the electrical system, I would unplug the machine at this point, right? I'm going to turn it back on, and it'll boot back up. Everything is done through the control panel. Notice we have one button on the display. That's our home button. I think Daryl defaulted it to the copier screen to do copies, so that's what it boots to. But if somebody accidentally hit the home button, it's going to be like your desktop that's on your computer, so you can copy, scan. We have file folders that you could create and scan to the file custom box, which is in the machine and for secure purposes. If you have a USB drive and you want to print or scan, so if you want to scan documents and save it onto USB drive, or if you had a Word doc or a PDF and you wanted to print from the USB drive, there's a USB port on the side, I believe, right?
Right there.
That's where you would put your USB drive. It would be recognized and you could see the files on the drive and print from that, or scan to the drive. ID card copy and handwriting enhancement, these are just jobs or programmable jobs that you can save to the desktop, so to speak. So if we go into the copy area, any of these features and functions that you have here, you can program and save, so you don't have to keep rekeying them every time. Okay. So to make a quick copy, let's say we have our copies on the top, put them in the document feeder. We select the amount of copies that we want, say that we want 2. It is defaulted to black and white. If we needed to change that to color, we touch that area. It could be auto color or full color. So auto color means it's just going to take in anything that is black, it's going to print a black sheet. Anything that is color, it's going to print a color. Full color, everything is going to be in full color. But we're just going to leave it in black and white. And I selected 2 copies, so I'll hit start. And that's all it is really to make a copy. Stack them up, select your quantity, hit the start button. If for some reason you made a mistake and you needed to clear, you could hit the C button and clear the count. If you had all the settings set in here and you wanted to reset it, somebody just got done copying, you could hit the yellow reset, sets it all back to the standard one-to-one setting, so to speak. We do have energy saver. You can have the machine do what's called low power mode or go into energy saver mode. It shuts down all non-essential components in the machine. The couple of different settings, warm-up time will be affected. So when you walk up to the machine, it may take 20 seconds, 30 seconds for the machine to warm up, depending on whether it's in low power mode or if it's in shutdown. So that's all programmable with energy saver. Some people may just hit energy saver and then walk away, right? So it's going to go, and it's shown right here that it's in energy saver. I can press a button and the machine will start its warm-up process again.
Set for 30 minutes right now.
30 minutes, okay, and that's programmable. You can adjust it to whatever. So if it's a busy office and people are, I always have to wait for this machine to warm up, you can change that so it's a shorter time, right?
Okay.
Keep productivity up. So this is the control panel. We went over those. Interrupt button. So let's say I was doing a job and it was 500 sheets and I'm waiting at somebody needs to make a quick copy of a check. Oh, I have to run to the bank really quick. You could press the interrupt button, interrupt that job, come in here and put your check or make your copies that you need, and then when you're done, the other job will resume. So that's what your interrupt button is for. Starting on the left side, quick setup basically is a tab that kind of shows you all the regular default settings that are on the machine. So auto paper selection, meaning that we don't have to select the paper size. So as soon as I put it in the dock feeder, it's going to know it's going to go on 8.5 by 11, and it'll choose the appropriate tray. If for some reason maybe I have tray 4 set at yellow, and I wanted to physically choose tray 4, it's legal right now, but let's say tray 3, I could force the paper, whatever paper is coming out of tray 3, to copy onto tray 3. So that's where your
paper, auto paper selection is for. We already went over color selection. If we go in color, if I hit more, let's say I wanted everything to be a single color. I wanted all this just to be in blue. So I could have whatever I'm copying is gonna output on blue. And then your auto color, again, it'll it'll scan and say, oh, this is a color copy, print me a color copy, and then it'll see black. Oh, this is a black copy, just use black toner again, so I'm not paying for a color toner, then black and white. Again, if I hit reset, set everything back 1 to 1. Now if we go into the original paper and finishing, we could choose and tell the machine what my original size is. Not that you have to, because it's set on auto. And then paper selection, we already kind of run over that in the quick setup tab. It's same. Mixed original size. So if I were to have 8.5 by 11, if I were to have legal, I could stagger them in between my mixed originals and pop them in the machine and line it up. And it would choose the correct paper and put legal on legal, letter on letter if you chose mixed original size, right? And then original orientation. Traditionally, when we were talking about, we put our originals in, it's face up, and my copy side is to the left. Well, I can change that, so right now with top edge on top, but if I wanted my top edge on bottom, a lot of ways to make a copy and change the orientation, right? And then collate. The machine is set to automatically collate or make copies. So if I have page 1 and page 2, right, and I wanted 5 sets, collate is automatically on. So if I put my page 1 and my page 2, and I press 2 sets, it's going to page 1, page 2, page 1, page 2. If I turn it off, so let's say I'm doing some sort of a PowerPoint presentation or something where I wanted 5 pages of 1, 5 pages of 2, because I'm going to hand out to the class my 5 pages of 1 and review that, and then I'm going to hand out 5 pages of 2, you would turn collate off, right? And then you have, let's say collate offset each page. So let's say you wanted to collate here 1, 2, and then the next one is going to be rotated, right? So you could rotate, or we could offset. So here, this one here, here. And a lot of times those are kind of like, we would do that if we're going to staple, not use the machine stapler, but I'm going to make 100 sets. So I would offset them so I could take them out to staple. So that's it for the finishing for collate. Then a staple area, and that's on the front page as well. So you can staple in the top left, top right, 2 staples on the side, right? And then 2 staples on the top, and then 2 staples on the left. So you'll quite a few options there. Then ID card copy. So let's say if that was on, basically when I put my ID in here, my license or whatever it is, I'm going to scan the first side, and then it's going to instruct me to flip over the original, maybe it's an insurance card, and then scan the other side and then hit start. So now I'll be able to have, the front side and the back side on the front piece of the paper. And that's kind of what the ID card is for. You notice that if we drag our finger up, on the screen, we can get to the different features and functions of the machine in the original finishing area. So now we go to zoom. So you can zoom anything from 25% reduction up to 400% enlargement. So you can do it in 1% increments. There's standard reproduction ratio sizes. So again, if I wanted to letter to 11 by 17 or a ledger, it's 129%, right? So I could choose that and automatically increase the size of this to fit on a 11 by 17 piece of paper. So, and then you can do what's called, just go back and hit auto. You could do what's called XY zoom, meaning that if you wanted to take and stretch it out this way, but leave it reproduction ratio correct from front to rear, but lead to trail, stretch the original out. So that's how you would go in here and select XY zoom. Let's see, what else do we have? Let's do border erase. So sometimes, like, so we're doing a magazine, right? And when we put our magazine, we have some nice recipes. And either the magazine is kind of ragged around the edge or there's light showing through. You can turn on border erase. You can erase the center of it. So when you see that dark edge that kind of comes up, so you're not using a lot of toner, you can turn those different features on, or individual border erase, just edges and not center. So what else do we have? Erase shadowed areas. That's a new feature on the machine. So if you're putting again a three-dimensional object on the glass, and you want to erase anything that's black around that outside, it's going to take and try to figure that out for you. Duplex's double-sided copying, that was on the first tab. So we did one-sided to one-sided. So any configuration of double-sided that you can think of. So you can do one-sided to two-sided. You can do two-sided to one-sided. And then, you know, you get into your book copies and all that kind of stuff. So that's all available there. Image, so color, image, and quality. So again, you can change your density. So sometimes if we're doing maybe an onion skin piece of paper, or let's say it's a pink purchase order and we want to lighten it up, right? The machine will try to automatically do it for you, but if it's not, you can lighten up the color image, or you can darken that on there for density, right? Then original image, you can tell it, is it a text and photo? Is it a photo? So it's going to change the contrast when it scans. Is it just text, or is it a graphic type or a map? Is it a printer output? Sometimes you have the matrix.print, that kind of thing. So it'll change the way that it detects the image and the way that it prints. And again, that's something that you'd have to test and see what's going to work for you on your particular type of image that you're using. What else? Echo print. So if that was on, that's going to conserve toner, right? So economy print, basically you're not going to get your nice dark solids, and but you're going to get a nice representation of what's on the paper using that feature. What else we have? Color balance, depending on what features, you know, some of these are grayed out because we're set at black and white. So if we were set on color, we'd be able to get access to them. Again, it's just changing our color output and all different ways to do that.
Okay.
Again, sharpness and background density adjust. Again, background density, again, something like a newspaper or a purchase order that might have some gray shading, you can turn that on with auto, or you can manually change that. Prevent bleed through, onion skin piece of paper, you know, you can kind of see through it. You can select that feature, change the contrast of it, and then erase colors. So that's another new feature. If I were to take and turn that on, I could say I don't want to see anything with yellow, don't want to see anything with cyan. So that's brand new to this this line, this particular model line. We didn't have that in the older machines. And then advanced setup. So some of these are how we orientate. We have auto image rotation, and notice that's on. And essentially what that means is that if I put something on the glass this way, or if I put in a document feeder and orient this, it's going to automatically rotate the image to put it on the right size piece of paper for you. Continuous scan. When we're doing scans to email, we could take and have a 2,000 page document, right? And if I selected continuous scan, I can only put 250 sheets in the doc feeder, or maybe I have 50 sheets are going to be scanned, and then maybe I have a photograph. So I'd want to select continuous scan. This allows me to continuously build this electronic file. And then when I'm all done, I can just press send. And then negative image, whatever's black is white, whatever's white that's black, and then mirror image, exactly, you know, kind of that reflection that you would look in the mirror. And then job finish notice. So if you, let's say you had a large job and you wanted it to send you an email and then notify you that the job was done, you know, it's going to take 2 hours to do it. You can have it notify you. File name entry. So let's say we come in here and I'm going to scan something. I want to name the file. So let's say I'm going to call it Steve's Invoices. I could name that, so when it goes, sends the email or it scans to SMB, the name of the file would be Steve's Invoices. And then you can put additional info on there as well. What else do we have? Priority override. So let's say again there was a large print job, you could certainly do use the interrupt feature, but you could do a priority override to where you want to override all jobs that are coming in, and you can just keep scanning and putting things into the print queue, and override all of that. And you can give it authority levels to do that. Repeat copy. So you could, whatever job you did, you could select repeat copy. It would automatically repeat that same setup without having to reset it. In document processor read action, you can have it set for speed, or you can have it set for quality scanning. So traditionally speed priority has been the default. Nobody's that I know of has ever changed it, but you can certainly do that if your image quality isn't good enough when you're trying to make copies. Then skip blank page, which is good when you're doing electronic documents or making copies. Let's say you had a couple of blank pages on the back and you didn't want to see those. You could hit skip blank page, and it wouldn't print a page, or for scanning purposes. And that's kind of it. And notice down here you have favorites and shortcuts. So any one of these features or functions, you can create it as a favorite. So if I came in and pressed the favorites, I could see some of these that are already in the machine set up. You could create more. So any of those you could just, so instead of having to go and hunt and pack and look for where they are, they could be under favorites or features. And that's kind of it on the copier side. So let's say we're going to scan the email. So if I hit send, Daryl already defaulted it to the one touch. Let's say I'm going to highlight it. Let's say I'm going to send it to 2 places at the same time. So I'm just going to take and I put the document in here. I'm all set. I'm just going to hit send. And it says, yes, it just, oops, hit send. It's just asking me, do you sure you want to send it to the 2 places? Most of the time, if we were just to send it to one, then send, it's just going to do it right away. It's not going to stop me. All right, and that's going to your email right away. So again, send, select any one of the one touches. Now if I wanted to change the orientation, let's say I had a double-sided original, right? So I could come in here and I could say, oh, what's my original? I have a 2-sided original. So now when I go to scan and send it, it's going to send 2 sides. So it's going to flip the original and send both sides. So you're all right. So anytime, let's say I'm going to go back to hit reset. Let's say I wanted to enter an email address. So I'm going to enter an email, so I could just touch the location, put in my email address, and then press start and send it. So I can do it on the fly, as they say, rather than using a pre-program. And you can always add it to you could add it to your address book. You can get your address book here, and you could add it directly in here and make it a staple. So I think that's pretty much it as far as all the features and functions that we've kind of gone through with the settings. If there's anything that's particular to what you do, let's say once a month, or you have a play coming up and you have a certain program and you need help with that, so you can always contact us and we can stop by or help you out over the phone to get that configured. So
Thank you.
I missed how to add a toner, correct? Yeah, how do we add toner? So the front door opens, and notice we have different little doors for each one of, so cyan, magenta, and yellow, and this is our black. When it's time to add toner, these doors will open, so it won't prematurely say, hey, oh, that's not looking right, let me change the toner, so we won't waste the toner. So when it is low, the door opens, you can slide it out and pop the other one in. And then Daryl,
The waste toner bottle
right.
slides out like this. Arrows up. You can give it a good little push, it'll snap in. That's it.
And that's for your waste toner. So every so often, that's gonna get full. It's gonna say waste toner getting full. Time to change it.
Okay.
Now, what you can do is you can save your black toners, and those can become your waste toner bottles. And if you need a waste toner one, we
okay.
have them in stock at the office. We can come with an empty one.
Okay.
But that's just to make use of.
Staples.
That's the only one that you can do it. And once that waste toner has gone in there, you cannot. It won't let you put it back in the machine.
Okay.
By accident. So you
Okay.
can't really get in trouble with that.
Good.
Now I think I got everything.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.